maybe your point is that the C8's too much money, or you can't get a hold of it, or whatever it is. Maybe there's a better vehicle. If you got a better vehicle that you can spend $20, $25, $30, $40,000 and can bring in close to per capital on a C8, I'd love to hear about it. I would love to do that. Secondly, if you don't feel like the strategy that I talked about last week of trying to find the hot new vehicle and capitalizing on that first year or two of production, let me know what strategy you use. I think it's the best. I don't think there's a better strategy to run the Turo business out of. Yes, it takes more planning. Yes, it takes looking ahead. Yes, it takes sometimes a small amount of capital. My Model 3 was a $1,000 deposit, okay? Most of the vehicles I'm going to talk about today, the next two hot vehicles, both of them were like $100 deposits. So that's the topic today. The topic today is, okay, we know the Model 3 was a great vehicle. It's kind of lived past its prime now. There's better vehicles to buy if you're going to go buy something now. The C8 is the hot vehicle right now, without a doubt. I don't think there's a debate. It's the best vehicle to have on Turo. I have one, a 1LT. I have a second one that should be here, hopefully a month. This one's a HTC, which means hard top convertible. And my second C8, and unless the dealership pulls some funny business at the very last minute, I'll be paying MSRP for that. I'll keep you updated on that, how that goes. I want to show that car to you. But C8 HTC should be coming in. It's still a 1LT, but I did go with the convertible. That's a little bit price jump. I'll tell you why I did that and why I think it might be actually better than the base 1LT. That should be coming in the next month or two. I can't wait to get that in. And the big debate I have now is do I sell my current C8? I got about 14,000 miles on it. I've had about 50 rentals. The value of it, I haven't got it appraised recently, but I still think I can get, maybe 20 grand more than I paid for it, maybe more than that. So 1LTs are going for close to $90,000. So yeah, that's a win. But the bottom line is those are very difficult to get a hold of right now. And the whole strategy is finding what the next big thing is. What's the next big thing? For a lot of you, by the time you put a deposit in on a C8, you're looking at this one that should come in the next month or two is about a 12-month wait for me. And so by the time that comes around, I think the C8's always, if you can get a 1LT C8, I think and you don't mind waiting, and you can get a dealership that will commit to not going crazy, not putting a ton of money on top of MSRP. It's still a great investment car, and it'll be that way for the next 2, 3, 4 years. I don't think, unless your market is very, very small, I don't think it's going to get overrun with C8s. And C8s are always Corvettes are going to rent well. C7s are great. C8s will always rent well because it's the first mid-engine Corvette. You'll be able to rent it. You'll get supercar money at a bargain, American sports car budget. So you can't lose with the C8. But what's the next vehicle? What's the next big thing? I got two of them for you. The first one, by the way, both of these, if I give you something on this channel, it's primarily going to be work in almost any market. I mean, I'll try to think about that when I preface different things, like, is there a market where this won't work in? Both the vehicles that I'm going to mention today, it'll work in any market, any city, rural, town, island, Hawaii, anywhere these will work. So let's jump right in. Number one, the next hottest vehicle, I think it could be, it'll be as popular as the C8. It won't be able to bring in quite as much money, but it's about, about half the cost of a C8. And some of you already know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be the Ford Bronco. the Ford Bronco is going to be a Turo beast. It will bring in, if you can get an allotment of a Ford Bronco, you need to do what you can to do it. And if you're going to invest in any vehicle, if you're going to invest $35,000 to $45,000 in any vehicle, and you can get a hold of one and get it early, you don't have to wait 2 or 3 years. If you can get one, get a Ford Bronco. I got 2 of them on order. If I tell you a vehicle on here, it's ones that I'm already ahead of the game. I had my Bronco $100 deposit in as soon as it was debuted. I'll have the first one, not necessarily the first one in the market here like my Model 3, but it'll probably be the first one on Turo, and I want that extra cash flow coming in. The beauty of the Bronco, I mean, there's a lot of good things, right? This is a vehicle people have waited decades for them to bring back the Bronco. I don't know. If you know when they stopped making the Bronco last, let me know. Probably it's been, maybe 18, 20 years minimum, maybe longer than that. But especially this type of a Bronco, which is a hardcore off-roader. They have their Ford, and I'm not a Ford fan, man. I'm a Chevy guy, okay? But I got 2 Broncos on order because I know how well they're going to do on Turo. And if you listen to me, you'll do well with it as well. But I got 2 of them on order, hardcore off-road vehicles. I have behind me ZR2 Bison. This vehicle, look, I focus on high residual vehicles. Any vehicles that are off-road vehicles or the off-road community, right? The off-road community invests in. So a lot of these off-roaders, the people who are buying these why do Wranglers hold their value so well, right? Most of the off-roader people are not buying them brand new. They're not buying them brand new. You got the mall crawler crowd, the people who want a cool Wrangler and they drive it to the mall and back and they drive it shopping. They're buying the Wranglers brand new. They're spending the $40,000, $50,000 on the Wranglers. But then the off-road crowd buys them, 5, 6 years when they're paid off, when they're traded in. And, they're spending $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 on the vehicles. What does that do to the residual values of the vehicles? It keeps it really, really high. So anytime you can get a higher end off-road type vehicle, okay, and get a good deal on it, it's going to hold its value very well. Behind me this is probably a vehicle that I would be surprised if this vehicle is on Turo at anywhere else in the country. If you know of a ZR2 Bison on Turo, send me the link. I'd like to see it. Because it's not a vehicle that people are buying for Turo. However, this is not my cash cow. This is not my C8 or my Tesla or any of those. But when all is said and done, and I analyze what I put into the vehicle, what I put out, the value, the trade-in value, residual value, all of that, this will be and I've had a lot of cars on Turo, a lot of vehicles on Turo. This will be in my top 5, maybe 6 at the most, as far as productive total profit vehicles on Turo. And that's because it's I got a good deal on it. That's number 1, right? It's a low volume, in high demand vehicle. If you're not familiar with the ZR2 truck, the best way I can put it, it's a mid-size Raptor. That's kind of what it is. It's made by Chevy, their most off-road truck. The Bison's the next, it's a ZR2 with body armor. I'll do a whole video on why this is a great Turo vehicle. But bottom line is this: any of these off-road vehicles, they hold their value really, really well. So if you want to rent a vehicle for, 2, 3, 4 years, what are your loans that you're getting? If you got to get a loan for a vehicle, right? If you're going to spend a $40,000, $50,000 on a vehicle, anything over $35,000, most of the time you're going to have to get a loan for it. I'm not one of these people that say every vehicle you put on Turo has got to be cash. About half of mine are. About half of the vehicles I put on Turo are cash vehicles. They're usually cheaper vehicles. They're cash. I don't have to worry about, being upside down. None of my vehicles I have to worry about being upside down. If I can't put a large enough down payment not to need gap insurance, and can't be in an equity position from the get-go, I don't buy the vehicle, and you probably shouldn't either. But these off-road type vehicles like this and the Ford Bronco, they're going to hold their value extremely well, if you get a good deal on one. So let's go back to the Ford Bronco. Ford Bronco, you got a lot of good things going on here with this. One, it's a vehicle that's got a core following. People, there's families across the country that had a Bronco, rode to school in a Bronco. You know, it's got a hardcore following. They haven't been built for 20 plus years, okay? A lot of hype on this. And again, I'm not a Ford guy, I'm more of a Chevy guy, but Ford, man, they hit the nail on they hit this thing out of the park on the Bronco from everything that we can see. The look of it, the way they built it, they're targeting, they are zeroing in on the Jeep Wrangler, which has always been one of the best Turo vehicles, no matter what market you're in. Wranglers are outstanding Turo vehicles if you get a good deal on one. But the Bronco, it will be better than a Wrangler. It'll be better than Wrangler because you know, one, it's the hot new thing. So if your market's got 10 or 15 Wranglers on it, and you can get one of the first Broncos on there, even if you're the 5th or 6th Bronco on there, people are going to pay the money pay more money to rent the Bronco than they will a Wrangler. It's the new thing. It's the cool thing. It's the, you know, Ford is a very popular brand, obviously one of the highest selling brands. You got a hardcore following behind it. Secondly, they're having production issues. I've had a Bronco order for almost a year now, and they can't get them done. They've had the chip issues, they've had supplier issues, they had, you know, I still haven't seen a real one on the road that was actually ordered. There's a few demos and so forth you can see, but the Bronco is going to be it's going to be a home run. It's going to be a home run. You'll be able to get top dollar on the Bronco, and for a long period of time, and they're going to hold their value. They're going to hold their value. You got dealerships that do have Broncos that somehow people got out of their orders. They've already got them marked up 10 grand over MSRP, 15 grand over MSRP. The Bronco, they will not be able to make the Bronco fast enough to keep up with the orders. You got to Google it, but there's probably somewhere between 250 to 300,000 Bronco orders already. It's going to take them several years to catch up to those orders. And so I would say could be equal to the C8 as far as, you know, a Bronco. If you got the first or second Bronco that you have on your market, C8 you're getting 300 to 350 a day. I think the Bronco you can get 200 a day all day long until there's a bunch of them to compete with you. Unless you gotta rent it out 20, 30 days in a month. I don't need that. My vehicles, you know, right now, peak season, you guys are gonna all holler. The people who use Turo as a full-time business are not gonna like this, but all of my rentals are 3-day minimums. Like I ain't got the time to clean a vehicle, prep it for my customer the way it should be prepped for a one-day $30, $40 rental. If you got time for that, that's fine. And if you need to maximize every single day, I don't need that. I don't need to do that. But 3-day minimums. Bronco, you could do 2-day weekends only and then still rent it out daily if you wanted to at 150, 170, 180 during the weekdays. Weekends, $200 a day. Minimum 2 days on the weekends is what I would do. And you'll be banking until there's 2, 3, 4 of them on the marketplace. And eventually they'll pop up. But a lot of these people that's had them reserved for so long, they ain't putting it on Turo. This is their baby. This is their first new vehicle they've bought in, 6 years. And they've had I read an article, it's all over the internet on this guy's had a Ford Flex for his family for 8 years, and he's finally getting his Bronco. And a lot of hype behind the Bronco. The Bronco's a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk. Ford, all the way that Chevy crucified the Blazer, the new Blazer, is a joke compared to how Ford handled the Bronco. They did it right. all the way through, and they look great, designed wise. It's just going to be a home run all the way. And it's going to be a home run on Turo. Mark it down. It'll be next year. The Bronco could be the best vehicle on Turo if you can get a hold of one. And I know some of you guys are like, oh, I can't get a Seat, I can't get a Bronco, and you can't, give me something I can do. Okay, that's coming. But look, if you know somebody who's got a Bronco on order, they've been waiting for a year or two, and decided to purchase something else, see if you can get their allocation. See if you can get their reservation. Pay them a couple $100 to, rather than them just giving it to the dealership who's going to mark it up $10,000, $15,000. Bronco, that's going to be the next hottest vehicle on Turo. Number 2, and this will go down possibly, I think most probably, it'll go down as the best vehicle for Turo maybe this decade. Forget about like the number 1 vehicle for the year, for the decade.